Hi, this is me again, Nit. Welcome back to part 2 of the Hazard Identification and Risk Mitigation HIRM framework tutorial. In part 1, you gained an overview of how the figures and numbers presented play an important role in systematically performing risk assessments. As mentioned earlier, this is a logical methodology you can always customize to suit your organizational needs. However, please ensure all figures remain aligned and consistently connected throughout the overall process. There should be no doubt about how the numbers are derived. Previously, we introduced several tables including some score sheets. Let's recap and begin with the severity section, specifically focusing on the impact-severity correlation. And here is the consequence impact score sheet, including impact level table and table of consolidated impact score to severity level correlation. Next, on the likelihood, the assessment of barriers, defenses is essential. Therefore, the barrier quality and barrier strength value require to be evaluated with the 9 barrier quality elements listed in CAGM 1902 SMS section 8.7.4. Here's the score sheet for the 9 barrier quality elements, and we have barrier quality element BQE score criteria, barrier quality and barrier strength value. Including this table represent the barrier strength value, BSV. We also talk about optimum number of barriers and applicable consolidated barrier strength value, CBSV, assessment to likelihood tables. Lastly, to obtain the required likelihood value, using all this table here 4I to 4V. Let's get started. This is the overview of the Hazard Identification and Risk Mitigation HIRM worksheet. Please zoom into column A to fill it in. Number 1 area, operation equipment. Number 2, hazard/threat. Number 3, unsafe event. Number 4, consequence. Column B, here we have existing preventive control, EPC. New preventive control, NPC. Existing recovery measures, ERM, new recovery measures, NRM. Let's focus on this existing preventive control, EPC, first. In the box of red, number 1 to 10 is the preventive control category. This category you can customize based on your organization. Number 1, emergency backup system, EB. Number 2, equipment, tooling, ET. Number 3, regulation, requirement, RR. Number 4, Standard Operating Procedures, SOP. Number 5, Inspection/Maintenance Program. Number 6, General Message or Advisory Notification, GM. Number 7, Process Certification or Approval, PC. Number 8, Personnel Authorization or Licensing, PA. Number 9, Training, Education or Promotion, TE. And number 10, Others, OT. In addition, the last 2 columns, escalation factor and unintended consequences, are applicable when there are conditions or factors that may weaken the effectiveness of an existing preventive control. Therefore, any identified escalation factor should be accompanied by an appropriate escalation control. This is a critical component to consider when assigning scores for the barrier quality elements later. Descriptions of the existing preventive controls should be clearly documented, including the associated escalation factors and escalation controls, as each preventive control contributes to the overall barrier strength value, BSV. To complete the HIRM sheet, follow these 10 steps to obtain the risk index. Start with identifying the existing risk index based on the hazard and its associated consequence. Step 1. Determine the severity level of the consequence. Refer to the provided severity score sheet for assessment. Now I will present a scenario for everyone to follow along step by step. Area/operations ground handling. Hazard identifies incorrect baggage loading distribution. Bags loaded on the wrong flight and not distributed according to the aircraft weight and balance requirements. Unsafe events. Aircraft departs with incorrect weight and balance configuration. Consequences. Loss of aircraft control during takeoff or landing. assess the severity level. Now, for example, after a brainstorming session with the SRM team, everyone agreed on the score based on the impact assessment, derived an impact score of 42, which falls within the corresponding impact score range. Based on that range, the consolidated severity level is classified as B. Now we already got the answer of step 1, severity level of consequences, step 2, consequences optimum number of barriers, and step 3, applicable CBSV likelihood table. To answer these two, check out optimum number of barriers and applicable CBSV likelihood table here. For severity level of B, optimum number of barrier, OBN, is 6 and applicable CBSC, likelihood table will be 4 IV. Now we already completed step 2 and 3. Let's move on to step 4, BSV of EPCs and existing RMs. We back to the scenario again on the hazard to consequences. The existing preventive control for an example, EPC1, Standard Operating Procedures for Baggage Handling and Loading. This one indicates escalation factor, which is EFPC1. Not all the staff refer to SOPs. And yes, there is control on it, which is ECPC1. All staff need to undergo recurrent training every 2 years. Followed by EPC2, ramp staff training on baggage segregation and aircraft weight and balance, and EPC3, use of load and trim sheet load manifest, validated and signed by loading supervisor and pilot in charge. Mark each EPC into the relevant category across the row here, indicate red or whatever indication you wanted to use for your notification on the escalation factor on the particular EPC. Now, do you have any existing recovery measures? Example, yes, 2 recovery measure was in place, such as ERM1, random baggage reconciliation procedures at the aircraft side, and ERM2, safety reporting any event occurred due to incorrect loading distribution. The same process, whatever the PC is, should mark on each relevant category across the row here. Now, time to assess each barrier along these 9 barrier quality elements. Let's say the SRM team agreed on each score given here with references to the barrier quality element BQE, score criteria, and supporting by barrier strength value BSV. Summarize all 9 scores to get the total barrier quality score. Use the score range table to match the total score to its corresponding BSV. Example, score equals 27, falls in between 23 to 29, BSV equals 3, score equals 25, still in 30 to 36, BSV equals 4. The same method is applied to all remaining items. So, for step 4, barrier strength values BSV, existing preventive control, each BSV score 3-4, and meanwhile the existing recovery measures, each BSV score 4 and 4. Now move to step 5 CBSV summary of EPCs and ERMs. Total up all existing control and existing recovery measures from step 4, 3 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 19. Step 6 CBSV of ONB. This applicable if number of EPCs and ERMs is bigger than the optimum number of barrier ONB. Refer to step 2 to cross-check what is the ONB. The ONB is 6 and the actual number of barrier EPC and ERM is 5. Therefore not applicable NA for step 6. Remember, if the actual number of barriers exceeds the ONB number, pick the highest number of barriers only. Step 7, CBSV of consequence, CBSV in step 5 or 6, whichever is applicable. Since NA annotate on step 6, 19 should be applicable in this step. Step 8, existing likelihood of consequence, in braced referring to item 3/step 3, which indicate table 4 IV, CBSV 19, from step 7, score range table between 18 to 23, likelihood value of 2. Step 9, existing risk index of consequence, pairing of step 1 plus 8, likelihood of 2 and severity of B equals 2B. Step 10, existing tolerability of consequence, refer to table safety risk tolerability. The complete worksheet for the HIRM activity overview as seen here. Safety risk tolerability must be accepted by the management and no further process required. However, always remember the process must be written in your company procedures. What would happen if your management didn't accept the risk? Then the process shall continue to assess the new preventive control to ensure that you have achieved the acceptable level of risks or you have intolerable level of risk. Your SRM team must perform new preventive control, including new recovery measure to reduce level of risk index. I hope this tutorial will be beneficial to your SRM team in conducting more systematic and effective risk mitigation within your organization. Once you understand the logic behind each figure and following the step provided, you'll see how this process offers both clarity and objectivity. Join me in part 3, where we will apply the same methodology to perform the HIRM, this time including the incorporation of new preventive controls.